Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to our YouTube channel. This is Havila School of Marriage.
Marriage.
It's such an honor for us to have you here. And if this is your first time, you're so welcome. You're a VIP.
Hey.
Grab a seat and enjoy this amazing content. And of course, don't forget to catch up with the amazing content we'll be sharing. Now, Havila School of Marriage, we talk about relationships, talk about marriage and the family.
Family.
Today, we've come here with something very interesting to share with you, and would like, of course, to hear your thoughts. Babe, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, Sweetheart, thank you. You're glowing.
Thank you.
Today we are talking about how to cope in your marriage during hard times, especially when it comes to finance. Because this is one of the things that brings a lot of stress in marriage. When times are difficult, even when people have money, they don't feel it too much. But when money or your income has reduced, then
You feel the hardship.
you feel it, you can feel it, especially when you're already used to a certain way of life.
Mhm.
So there are several things to do, but before we all look at the different types of hard times that can come in a marriage. The first hard time is what we call self-imposed hard time. This self-imposed hard time is when you deliberately uh, decide not to spend, or because of a project, you find yourself in lack in the house, maybe because you are achieving a project. That's called a self-imposed hard time. It's not very bad, but it will cause you to have some small financial stress in the house
Yep.
because you are achieving a project. You are
Mhm.
engaged in something. There is a second one. This second one is what comes during due to a season. For example, in 2020, the whole world was in a global crisis.
Ah.
Sometimes you have floods, you
Mm.
have disasters that come, and that causes a hard time. Sometimes wars, they bring hard times, and so people find themselves in stress because they can no longer do all what they used to do. And then you have the third, which is a hard time that can come due to your errors or an investment error or a loss. For example, somebody loses his job, it was not expected, it leads the person into a hard time.
Mhm.
Somebody loses money or is duped, because we have so many scammers today, and
Hmm.
you lose a great sum, or you invest. One time we had a great investment loss, and it brought
Very
us into
terrible.
a hard season, a hard
Ah.
time. So we have experienced it in our marriage. We have shared it in one of our videos how we
Yes.
bounce back,
Yes, we
how we're
did.
able to bounce back. So when you experience hard times, how do you cope? The very first thing is that you should acknowledge. Some people don't want to accept. Some people keep working in denial. It is not true. This is different from faith. Acknowledging
It's
something is
not
not lack
faith.
of faith.
Lack of
It's
faith.
not lack of faith. You acknowledge that the times are hard. That's what will even bring faith
Yep.
for you to go before God to bring a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledgement is the very key thing. If you don't acknowledge, you start working in a lie with a lie. You start trying to put forward what it is not, or trying to
Yeah.
show people what is not.
What is not, and you
You
further get
see,
into it.
if you see many people who are borrowing so much during hard time, there are people who have not accepted.
Yes.
Who
Trying
have
to cover
not
it up.
accepted, they are trying to cover up. If you have
Mm.
not acknowledged, you will cover up.
Mm.
If you acknowledge, you will be able to tell somebody. And so the people that you inform them are the ones that have the solution at that time that will help you out.
Yeah.
So this is a very important thing to do. Acknowledge. The second thing that you have to do, which is very important, is to educate your entourage.
Mm.
After you have acknowledged, first in your house with your spouse, explain to your spouse, discuss together and understand the season in which you are,
Mm-hmm.
and be in agreement, because some spouses can be difficult. I understand some can be difficult, some can really put you
Yeah.
pressure, but do well to explain to the person. I used to take care of you like this, but it's no longer possible. We
Mm.
used to eat like this in the house, but when you come, maybe you not mean meat. As with that.
Ah, say that again. You
You
enjoy it
understand?
like that.
You understand why I'm laughing? You know that. You see, so let the man know that he will no longer have meals the way he used to have it. You understand? Let your wife know you will no longer buy her things every time you are coming back home, or you will no longer do it awfully. Educate
Yeah.
your end. Then your children, educate them. They were already used to a certain way of life. Let them
Very
know that it's no
routine.
longer like that.
Mm-hmm.
Your extended family, maybe you have people you were sponsoring. Sometimes you have to even cut down on some,
Yes.
or stop doing some of those things.
Understand.
If you don't educate people, they'll misunderstand you and usher you into a lie or unnecessary pressure.
Pressure.
Unnecessary pressure. Very important. The third thing is to cut down. cut down. Cut down what? Your way of life, your lifestyle, your expenditures, your plannings. If you used to budget a million and you had time, maybe you budget on 100 now.
Oh,
Very
that's
important.
reality.
Cut down on the meals you cook. Spread them out. Cut down everything. The things you buy, the outings, some of the outings you have to stop them completely. Some of the leisure moments you have to stop them completely. During that season, it's a temporal season. Hard times are always temporal. If you don't have the right wisdom during hard times, that's when it will prolong. It will prolong
Exactly.
and bring you into further stress. It is not also time to make unnecessary moves during hard times. Before you make a move during hard times, like changing location, seek the face of God.
Yes.
Some of these hard times, God brings them. God brings them.
Exactly.
When there were hard times, Abraham went abroad. Abraham went abroad. God accepted. When it was his son Isaac, God refused that. Don't go.
So in the
Stay
land.
in this land where there are hard times and plan. So, and he obeyed. So, before you make a move during hard times, seek the face of God. Ensure that God is with you. Don't just move because things are hard or because you have seen that things are happening where somewhere.
You're on there.
This man did that.
Naomi.
Naomi, the husband and the children, they went abroad to Moab
You know,
during
terrible.
hard times. And when they returned, she returned miserable because she
Miserable.
faced challenges. God did not validate that trip.
Mhm.
It is very important because one of the temptations during hard time is to change
Change
location.
location.
Not all hard times require that you change location. And any location that you think of changing that requires that you start doing some type of things, watch out about that one.
Compromising your values, your standards, who
Yes,
you are as a person.
watch out about that one. Very important.
Negative.
The last but not least is that learn management now. Manage what you have. One of our fathers in the faith always says that if you think enough, then what you have is enough. The reason why people get stranded during hard times is that during hard time they don't want to manage. They want to continue living like
The same
the
standard
former
of
time.
life.
They want to continue having the same standard of life. It's not possible. That's what will bring you into borrowing here and there, and then you become a crook because you start hiding from the people you borrow from. You cannot pay
Yeah. Too
because
much pressure.
you borrowed here. You wanted to maintain a higher standard of life. You borrow and you can no longer pay. You are now hiding from the different people. You are fueling your car like this. You want to continue fueling. I don't know how sometimes you should trek. When they thought of taking a bike, you say, you of all people, how can you take a bike? Yes, you should take a bike. You should trek. Especially the men. I hope they are listening to me. Trek. Take the bike. Trek.
Okay.
The women, all the hairs that they do here and there, buy all these wigs, you have
Implant.
to stop buying them for that period. All the makeup reaching out the other day, you have to suppress some of those things
Yeah.
because you are in a difficult season that requires you to manage. Jesus teaches this principle in John chapter 6. John chapter 6, verse 12 to 13. John chapter 6, verse 12 to 13. When he fed 5,000 people and there were leftovers, the normal man would think that they should discard everything that was remaining.
Everybody was satisfied. Oh.
There were fragments. I mean, people ate and those fragments
They
were
threw the
left.
remaining ones.
Normally, in our usual way of doing things, we discard them. I used to think like that until God corrected me through the hard way. But now, Jesus said, gather the fragments,
All
so that there will be no waste. So that there will be no what? Waste. And when they gathered these fragments, it became 12 baskets full. Can you imagine? You know, that's the wisdom God gave me for our wedding. You remember?
I remember.
When we got married, I did not have a salary. I didn't have a salary. I was already posted as a doctor. I didn't have a salary. And I was working and I was being blessed with small money. Sometimes 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. That's how it was coming. And a normal man would despise it. What can I do with 1,000? What can I do with 5,000? But the Lord told me, gather the fragments. That's what He told me. Gather the fragments. And as I kept on gathering them, I think He gave me that wisdom in February.
Preparing for the wedding.
February, when we got married in August. Imagine that He gave me that wisdom for about 6 months. I practiced what the Lord told us. And that is how we had a glorious wedding. Of course, we are going to share some of the pictures for them to
I
see.
will.
You see, so during hard times, you learn management. You don't waste anything. You don't discard anything. You don't discard anything. And one of the things that during hard times that if you did it before, it will help you during hard times is that if you save, you will
Savings.
be able, your savings will be able to sustain you.
Sustain you.
They'll be able to sustain you during the hard time. But if you didn't save, you will live like this. And even if you saved, you will still manage.
Manage, because you don't know how long
You
will
will
last.
still manage. Very important because you don't know how long the hard times will last. Joseph gave that wisdom. He gave that wisdom to Pharaoh during the 7 years of
Yes.
famine, because when people are living in abundance, they never think that difficult seasons of
They
life
come.
could come. But remember, difficult seasons of life will always come, whether we like it or not.
That's right.
There will be seasons of great abundance, there will be seasons of lack.
Lack.
But if you apply the right wisdom, you will hardly ever experience the lack.
Yes.
Because Joseph told Pharaoh, he said, during the 7 years of abundance, save, build warehouses, store things there, so that during the time of lack, we will have enough. And that's what happened. So this is one of the wisdom you should start applying from now on. Have accounts where you are saving in them. Some of the ways to save could be in Jangi houses, could be in accounts, could be in property, landed property.
Investment.
It's not in opening a business. That's not a saving, it's a business. Saving means that you keep money somewhere, or you keep an asset somewhere that in case you get into difficulties, you can liquidate it and balance up.
Yes.
Why waiting for the season to pass? This is how it is. That's that.
Yes, babe.
Maybe you have
Very
another
wise.
wisdom to give out to these people.
Like you just said, one thing that several people don't envisage is that life may not always be the way that it is. Of course, we're hoping for the best, for things to get better by the day, but it can happen that things turn the other way round, and you find yourself in a situation where you're really in a tight corner. Accept it and adapt to it, trusting God to take you out of it.
Really?
Whatever instructions that God gives you, because during those seasons, one thing is that you hear the voice of God. For those who trust and believe in God, God will always speak to you. Especially if, for example, it's a desert period, He will speak to you. And the more it becomes difficult, the more you receive His word of assurance, of encouragement, and it will keep you through this. So it's just part of life. Sometimes life just happens, and unexpected things happen to you. It's not the end of the world. Worse still, don't think the other way around. Some people think that it's time to just end everything and allow responsibilities for others to be carried.
Or they start
Please.
calling from here to there begging.
Yes. Or thinking that everybody must help you and all of that. Not that you should not ask for help. You can't ask for help, but
Yes.
allow God to lead you.
But
Because even if
it should
you
not be
ask,
help for maintenance. It should be
yes,
help that can help you come out
come
of that
back.
situation.
Be patient, because sometimes it can last long. And if it happens it's going to last long, patiently go through that season as you trust God to take you out of it. And of course, have the right attitude,
The right attitude, the right actions, the right steps.
the right words, because the
Yes,
things
the
that you
right
declare
words,
matter
really.
a lot. Sometimes the things that you declare will just prolong that destructive season or the challenging season which you find yourself in. Continue to speak right, continue to declare God's word and stand on His word until it comes to pass.
Yeah, when we got into marriage, when we had our first child, I went back to school, and my wife was still in school, and we're depending on my salary. You know how our salary is here. Things were pretty difficult, but we understood it. We accepted it. We managed through the situation. Sometimes we're not even cooking on gas. We're using
That's true.
charcoal to cook. Sometimes we're using sawdust to cook. Sometimes we were cooking without any compliment in the food. And we convince ourselves to enjoy it like that.
Yes.
Because listen to me, hard times are temporal. They don't come to stay.
Yes.
You are the one that can make them stay or prolong them if you don't apply the right wisdom. And like she said, trust the Lord. He will take you out of it.
And have the understanding that your path is unique. One thing that puts a lot of pressure on people is competition, comparison, unnecessary comparison.
Really.
Because maybe somebody went through what you're going through and maybe did this to come out, does not necessarily mean that you also need to do that.
Really.
Or the fact that these people that you had this lifestyle with them are still thriving You must not necessarily compete to meet up with them, knowing very well that the season in which you're in has changed. Tell them, like you said, and then you focus on the path which you find yourself in. Focus with your spouse and see how you can do to help yourself and work as a team. One
Mm.
error that most couples make doing such is that they separate. They start working like islands. It further aggravates the process, or consequences come in place when there's no longer agreement. Agree with your spouse. Even if one person was the one that made the error that landed you into that, you are a team. The team has made a mistake. What can you now do as a team to bounce back? Remain as a team and don't compare yourself to other people.
Indeed, and we're a team. Team
Yep. Team
Nzometia sends their greetings
Nzometia.
to you.
Thank you so much, amazing viewers, for watching this amazing stuff. I'm very sure that you've been blessed by one or two things. Thank you. We'd like to hear from you. And of course, if you've not subscribed, you definitely want to.
Mm.
Share this with your family, your friends, your entourage, so they can learn from the wealth of knowledge. Habla Summary is a gold mine.
Mm.
Everybody is free to come and tap from this gold
Mm.
so that you enjoy the glorious marriage or relationship and leave
A
a transgenerational
transgenerational legacy.
legacy. God bless you.
Mm.